Let's talk about today something that all of us can relate to. Yes, the pain of creating a new habit or getting rid of an old one. Well, these are the two sides of the same coin. So, what exactly goes wrong? Why it takes us so long, or why we have to put in so much effort in developing a new habit? Yes, you are right. I'm not going to share tips of how to develop a new habit. Instead, I'm going to talk about why we are unable to develop a habit so easily. So, this why is more important than how. In fact, Einstein used to spend 80% of his time figuring out a right why for his task rather than working on how. How used to follow why. So that's the reason I have decided to discuss why it takes us so long to develop a new habit. Once we know why, we'll figure out the how. So yes, so the first reason why we are unable to develop a new habit so easily is again lies in why. Because we do not have a strong why behind developing this new habit. Our intent of developing this new habit is not so strong. If we have a very strong why, then we will definitely work towards it. You can think about the Bollywood stars, the Hollywood stars. They don't have to kind of find it so difficult to hit the gym because they have a very strong why. They have to look physically fit for their movies. So if we find that strong why, we'll be able to kind of initiate that step towards creating the new habit. But if there is no why, then we will not even feel like doing it. So, yes, that's the first reason why we are unable to create a new habit, because we do not have a strong why. So, once we have got our strong why behind developing a new habit, what's next? So, the next is to understand that why we are not able to develop a new habit is because we have an old habit, right? So as I said, these are the two sides of the same coin. So if I want to develop a new habit of getting up early in the morning, that means I have an old habit of getting up late. So our mind is working as per this old habit in a programmed way. Even our physical body and emotional body are also attached to this old habit. For example, we have a lot of pleasant memories of having a bite of ice cream, of enjoying an ice cream. So, whenever we look at it next, that emotions of joy and those happy hormones are going to get circulated in our physical body, and our mind will automatically take us there. And as per this programming of mind, body, and emotions, we are going to grab that ice cream in spite of having a very strong why behind. So, along with the understanding that we have to develop a strong why to develop a new habit, we also have to understand that there is an old habit which is in play. And unless we understand that old habit, we are not going to develop the new one. This reminds me of one of my patient who had peptic ulcer, and as a result of the peptic ulcer, the stomach is kind of the main area which is under concern. And as a result, if you have a lot of food in your stomach, it's very difficult for the stomach to digest it. And he had this habit of not chewing his food properly, and as a result, very huge bites used to get into his stomach, and stomach used to find it really difficult to digest, and it would be under an overload. So he never used to chew it. He used to just gulp the food. And his wife used to tell me that whenever and he was very afraid of surgery. So that was his strong why he had to create a new habit of chewing his food, that he wanted to avoid the surgery. That was the only why that he had. But whenever he's eating his meal, he was again going back to that old habit of not chewing, instead gulping the food. So his wife used to always intervene and remind him, see, if you keep eating the food in the similar way, you're going to go through the surgery. And this used to just bring him back into the conscious self, and he used to start chewing his food. So yes, so this is the second reason why we are not able to create a new habit, because we are caged into our old habit. But as we just saw that if we are reminded consciously to of our why we have to come back to the new habit, then our mind automatically takes a shift and starts doing the new habit. Like this patient of mine started with the new habit as soon as his wife used to remind him. But we all might not be so lucky to have such you know, a loyal wife or husband. After some time, they might just yell at us and say, "Get lost and do whatever you want to do." So we have to kind of understand this programming of our mind and take the conscious decision to break through it. So what the wife in the case of my patient was doing, we can do it for our own selves. We can do it for our own mind. So if we are conscious, we can consciously intervene in the mind's programming like we do with our friends. So if we kind of make our mind our friend, the moment it goes back to the old habit, the moment it goes back to the old programming, we remind it. We come, "Oh, I caught you." And the moment you tell your mind, "I caught you," the mind comes back to the present, and then it starts coming back to the new habit. So the moment your mind is wanting to sleep again, you have to tell the mind, "Hey, come on, get up." So that is the second reason that we are unable to create a new habit, because our mind, body, and emotions are working as per a programming of the old habit. The third reason why it takes us so long to develop a new habit is unfamiliarization. Yes, we are not so familiar with this new habit. Our mind is not so familiar with this new habit. For example, if I ask you to dance in a theater, in an auditorium where 1,000 people are sitting, if you're not a dancer, if you're not familiar with dancing in an auditorium, then you would sort of step back. You would be not so comfortable doing it. But instead, if you're a dancer, you've been dancing in auditoriums, you're familiar, your mind is familiar, your body is familiar with this action, then you would easily do it. So familiarization plays a very, very important role in what our mind does or what our body does. So creating a familiarization in our mind is very, very important. And this is also the reason why our mind is comfortable doing the old habit, because it is very familiar. The old habit is very familiar to it. And that is also a reason why affirmations, we are asked to do positive affirmation if we want to create a new habit, and you have to see yourself doing that habit. I am doing this. I am waking up early in the morning at 6 o'clock. And then we also attach an emotion to it. I am very happy waking up early in the morning at 6 a.m. I am feeling very cheerful having a healthy breakfast in the morning at 8 a.m. So what we are doing in affirmations, we are actually attaching a positive emotion, an emotion that our mind can relate to, and then creating a mental event. So with the affirmation, we create a mental event. We are living this moment and event with every affirmation in our mind. So the mind registers it as a live event. Mind cannot, for your information, this information would be very useful to you, that for mind, there is no difference between a live situation or an imaginary situation. So it can always, treat a live situation as imaginary or an imaginary situation as live. So when you are affirming, doing a new habit, in a way the mind is living that event as a live event, while this is not happening. Actually, you're not doing that habit, you're just affirming it in your mind, but mind registers it as a live event, and in the process it gets familiar with that event. The more you affirm, the more familiar it gets with the event, and the stronger emotion you attach to it, the more comfortable it is for the mind to create that event, to imagine that event in its on its mental image. And that's how, when you start doing that habit, the mind doesn't find it so unfamiliar. It finds it familiar because you have been doing it through affirmations in your mind. So that's how affirmations work in creating a new habit. So yes, these were my some little sharing about why we are unable to create a new habit so easily. And once you know these whys, it's very easy for you to work on the hows. Don't you think it's the how just follows why? And as I always say, simplicity is the key. So please do not underestimate the power of these simple tips that I have just shared. So those of you who have been watching my videos, you know me. But for those of you who are watching me for the first time, I'm Dr. Neeru. I'm a doctor in Ayurveda, which is an Indian system of medicine and healing, and I've been a wellness coach for more than 10 years. This channel is my initiative to generate some knowledge about physical, mental, and emotional health, because it's really a pity to see ourselves suffering in the hands of our own mind and our own emotions. So it's high time that we take charge of our own selves and kind of lead the life that we are living. So I wish you all the best, and I'm sure you would create your new habit very soon. Till then, take care. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for staying tuned.